first, last name, and your title. We're going to go ahead and start the interview.
All right. Jimmy Toler, Jimmytoler. I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Tyler.
All right. So the first question I have for you is, can you give a brief synopsis of what exactly happened on May 11th, the sequence of events from the initial call to the time a shot was fired?
You know, when we got that initial call around 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon from the Dollar General on West Gentry, we received information that a black female with red hair and a white female with a bicycle had committed a theft. Officers responded to the area. One went to the store. One went to check the area, see if they could locate the suspects. A few blocks north of, or to the north side of Dollar General, we had an officer locate the suspects and engage them in trying to get them to stop, trying to get them to cooperate with the investigation, but also to further the investigation, we need information on it, where they've been, where they're coming from, are they in possession of any stolen property. During the course of that, we had one individual that failed to cooperate, continually was resistant to any types of commands or directions given by the officer, absolutely failed to cooperate. As she got ready to walk away, that officer used soft controls to try to gain control of her and put her into custody, to put her in handcuffs so we could further the investigation. At that point, the resisting started, the evading started. She continued flailing her arms, falling backwards, at which point she eventually fell to the ground and a struggle ensued trying to get her into handcuffs. A short period of time after that, had an officer show up that assisted him. The backup officer tried to assist him with bringing her into custody. While they were trying to control her hands and her body and her feet and everything, the suspect grabbed a hold of the officer's pistol from within the holster, at which time they were able to grab her arms, and while holding on to it, she was able to get her finger inside the holster and discharge the firearm. No, shortly after that, an officer had to make that decision that she has now escalated this situation based on her actions and what she did, and an officer used a closed hand strike to strike her and stun her, at which point officers were able to take her into custody.
And why did the public only see 6 seconds of the initial body cam video instead of the full length of it?
You know, we are conducting a criminal investigation. There's an individual investigation going on in reference to the actual theft itself and additional potential criminal charges that'll be filed against her in the near future. That investigation is ongoing. The administrative investigation is ongoing in reference to the use of force itself. As we look at all these factors in our policies and procedures, we look at how we responded, was the initial contact there, did we try to de-escalate this situation? And as we go through it, were the officer's actions reasonable based on the situation he was in at that time? And releasing the full body camera at this time just interferes with that process. We take statements from people, we do the investigation. It allows witnesses to see it, it allows participants in it to see it. As we conduct our investigation with this time, we'll hold off on that. But we will use the resources we have and the information we have to correct inaccurate statements that are made in the public on social media. We did that in this one because there was a narrative going on that officer fired his own firearm, and it wasn't the suspect that did it. And we had definitive proof that wasn't true, and it definitely changed the narrative here.
And do you all plan to release the full video of the body cam?
No, we are still conducting the actual criminal investigation. We will release the information that goes along with making sure that the public gets accurate information. There are 2 and maybe a 3rd video of it out there right now. People have seen what happened. They know that the round went off. They know that the officer struck the suspect. That's under our investigation right now. There is a possibility that we will release a video of it in the future, but not until we're further along in our investigation.
And right now, what are you all investigating, and what steps is the department taking to investigate the incident?
You know, we have all the policies and procedures in place. We have an integrity unit here that oversees policies and procedure complaints, use of force investigation, pursuit investigations, officer-involved shootings. We are conducting that investigation right now. This isn't a full officer-involved shooting because the person that pulled the round on this one is in jail right now. It wasn't the officer. And I want to stress that is that we are in this situation today because of decisions that she made every step of the way. And she made the decision to resist. She made a decision to grab that officer's gun. She made a decision to pull the trigger on it. She made a decision to keep resisting afterwards. that made these officers take the actions they did. And she is now in jail because of those decisions. She had outstanding warrants for an aggravated assault. She had other charges that we were dealing with at the department also. So I think we focus on the officer. We focus on what we're going to do here. We're going to fully investigate this and make sure that it falls within our policy and guidelines. But we had to remember that everything that we are in here for today was based on the decision she made.
And will the findings of the investigation be made public? If so, when?
You know, we are a civil service department. We will conclude the investigation. We'll be as transparent as possible by letting y'all know that what actions were taken one way or the other and whether or not it fell within policy. That's not going to be a problem at all. And when we conclude that investigation, if you're asking for the full write-up of it like that, most likely not. But we will give you a brief synopsis on how we concluded this investigation.
And will the internal investigation involve the Texas Rangers at any point, or will it stay within the department?
It's within our department. No, we are one of the largest law enforcement agencies in East Texas. It's a job I've had in the past as an internal affairs investigator. We have those experienced supervisors now that do this, and they do it at a very high level.
Chief, sorry, can you explain when we usually invite the Texas Rangers?
Okay. We have that capability to invite the Rangers or an outside resource to review along with our investigation on those. So if we were going to do an officer-involved shooting where an officer discharged the firearm and struck somebody and we were doing a review, we would have our internal affairs investigation going. There would be a criminal investigation going on at the same time outside of the internal affairs investigation, and we would invite the Texas Rangers in to also do theirs. So you would have 3 parallel investigations going on.
And what is Tyler PD's use of force policy, and where can it be accessed?
Yeah, we do have our use of force policy online at tylerpolice.com, and we can get it for you there, but we can also get you a copy through our public information office.
And did the officer use proper protocol on the woman?
You know, that's the thing that we are looking at now. We always fall back on our policies and procedures to make sure that they use the training, that they de-escalate like they're supposed to. I can tell you that when that officer engaged her because she chose to evade, because she chose to resist, he was using soft controls that are within policy. As she continued resisting and fell to the ground, he continued using soft controls. This did not escalate until she grabbed that gun and turned this into a deadly force situation, which escalated into the hard hand strike that was done. I cannot stress enough the actions of her deciding to do this. And even afterwards, as we get ready to go to court and we get to go to trial, a lot more information is going to come out and video is going to be seen. She continued to be belligerent. She continued to resist, and even at times trying to strike her head on items at the jail, at items in the car. It never stopped.
So theoretically, if this woman was pregnant, would the officer's force still be acceptable?
Pregnancy has nothing to do with her failing to cooperate with the actual detention itself. Would things be different if she was fully shown at 7 or 8 months pregnancy? Possibly, but I will tell you, once she made that decision, she is making that decision on how this escalates. The officers can only de-escalate it so much. At some point, she's got to make the decision to stop. Just like the other individual that was with her, there's another suspect in the theft. When that officer detained her, she sat down, she cooperated with it fully. That's exactly what should have happened. If you got a problem with what's going on the scene, with what officers are doing, you come here later and file those complaints and let us investigate them. Fighting with an officer in the middle of the street is not the way to do it.
And is the officer on administrative leave, or has the officer had prior complaints or anything like that?
You know, I'm glad you asked. You know, one of the things that nobody's asked during this whole process is how the officer's doing. No, this is as traumatic an experience for them as it is for anybody else. Shortly after they took her into custody, one of the first things he did was ask the other officer to start checking him to see if he was bleeding, because he didn't know if he was shot or not. That's one of the things that he was going through. He is here with us in the building on admin duty, because we want to make sure that we protect him as he goes through this process. And he'll stay in that role until we conclude our investigation. But I'm glad you asked that, because it's important for us to know that this person had the intent to harm or possibly kill a Tyler police officer.
And should the public continue to trust Tyler PD?
I can tell you that we are one of the most experienced professional law enforcement agencies in the state of Texas. We're nationally accredited for our policies and procedures. You know, people bring those trust questions up every now and then, but we make 100,000 contacts with people a year. All of our stuff is reviewed every time there's a use of force for our policies and procedures. Every time there's a complaint, it's filed and investigated. All our cases go to trial and they go to the district attorney's office to be prosecuted. You don't see all these complaints coming here all the time. And now we know anytime we're dealing with the public and we're making arrests, there are going to be people that are unhappy. We know that. When people are going to jail for crimes they've committed, people are going to be unhappy. But I can tell you, you can absolutely trust this police department, this city, and the leaders that are here. Because they ask questions. We're not just sitting here doing this on our own. We follow it with the bosses that we work for, with the city council. And I can tell you that we're as transparent as any agency around here, and you can absolutely trust this city.
Chief, can you talk about the transparency the officer showed by placing his body camera?
I can. One of the things that happened is we're very fortunate during this situation. The officer and his professionalism, as he was trying to restrain this, his body camera fell off. As he grabbed it while trying to control her at the same time and put it back on, that's the body camera that allowed us to show you exactly what happened. Because I can tell you, this city made the commitment 2.5 years ago to spend almost $2 million putting body cameras and in-car videos and other equipment on these officers. And it's a valuable tool that often, when we go to trial, puts the jury and the public in the same view the officer had.
So the last question I have for you is the department working, what is the department working on for the future that you would like to let the community know so that, a situation like this might not happen?
We committed a long time ago to be community-based in reference to building that support. We have community response officers. We've recently assigned 2 officers to the downtown area to continue that relationship. We have 2 officers assigned to homeless outreach that are focusing on getting individuals off the street, getting them back to their family, getting them the resources they need. We're looking at that next step of adding a mental health officer, possibly 2, to do that outreach, because we understand the crisis that people go through on a regular basis. We're trying to be that conduit for the things that they need. But I can tell you, when it comes to individuals choosing to commit crimes, they have got to make better decisions in reference to what they're doing. Officers don't want to be out there engaging officers that are individuals that are doing this stuff. They don't want to be involved in use of force situations. If nobody committed a theft, if nobody committed assault, we wouldn't have that engagement. We'd be building this community we want to build. But the big part of it is that individuals have to make those choices to not make those bad decisions.
And is there anything else that you would like to add that I might have left out?
No, I do want to stress on this one that we are extremely proud of the restraint these officers had, because this could have been severely worse. When she grabbed that firearm and chose to pull that trigger, it escalated this to a deadly force situation. And by the restraint of these officers alone she is still alive and with us today.
All right, thank you for your time. What is the department working on for the future that you would like to let the community know so that, a situation like this might not happen?
We committed a long time ago to be community-based in reference to building that support. We have community response officers. We've recently assigned 2 officers to the downtown area to continue that relationship. We have 2 officers assigned to homeless outreach that are focusing on getting individuals off the street, getting them back to their family, getting them the resources they need. We're looking at that next step of adding a mental health officer, possibly 2, to do that outreach, because we understand the crisis that people go through on a regular basis. We're trying to be that conduit for the things that they need. But I can tell you, when it comes to individuals choosing to commit crimes, they have got to make better decisions in reference to what they're doing. Officers don't want to be out there engaging officers that are individuals that are doing this stuff. They don't want to be involved in use of force situations. If nobody committed a theft, if nobody committed assault, we wouldn't have that engagement. We'd be building this community we want to build. But the big part of it is that individuals have to make those choices to not make those bad decisions.
And is there anything else that you would like to add that I might have left out?
No, I do want to stress on this one that we are extremely proud of the restraint these officers had, because this could have been severely worse. When she grabbed that firearm and chose to pull that trigger, it escalated this to a deadly force situation. And by the restraint of these officers alone she is still alive and with us today.